Hey y'all,
What's going on, everyone?
I'm Jay,
And I'm Chris the Bird Nerd.
and
We
we
are
are the
the Bird
Bird
Brains.
Brains.
I did bring out the handy dandy cup.
Oh man, so I'm in a Bird Brains conundrum with the merch right now. So for those of you who don't know or haven't seen the most recent episodes, I moved at the beginning of the summer, but we renovated a house, built among the things we built, and Chris came out helped me with the new birdcage. Saw all this in progress. Was this office, but we do not have a master bedroom right now. We're going to build that here soon after my next kid is born. There's a lot in which is in a couple weeks. We got a lot going on.
You're not
Um,
busy at all, you know.
no, yeah. If I still had hair, I'd be pulling it out. But what were we just saying? Oh, Bird Brains merch. So um right now we're living in what will be like a guest room, or actually it'll be my fourth kid's room eventually. And we don't have a ton of room in there. Like our bed, like to the space between like the end of our bed and the wall is like you have to like scoot around to get in bed. And so we have my wife and I are sharing a dresser. And so my wife said, we got to cut back on, you get these two drawers, I get these three drawers. So I only got like six shirts that I can wear in rotation, and she picked them. I didn't pick them. So like this is one of them, and but none of them are Bird Brains podcast T-shirts, and I'm kind of bummed about it.
Well, I mean, I'm still in my work attire, so that's how my afternoon went. So, my wife is on a little girls trip with her friends, and so I'm hanging out with the kids, and we're
Fighting the
full
good
in.
fight.
Yeah, doing the good fight. We're full into sports, so it's a straight come home from work, go to practice or games, and get home at dark and try and eat some dinner and, rinse and repeat. So
Right.
it's just the life right now.
Still better than summer when there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, at least we're back on the schedule.
yeah. We
Man,
are back
summer
on
is
the
brutal.
schedule. First week of school for us this week. Is it the first week for you guys too, Jay?
We did a half a week last week, so we started
Okay,
last Wednesday. So this is
okay.
our first full week.
Yeah,
And my boys had half days Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is almost worse than
yep,
nothing because you're by the time you do carpool, come home, get whatever you were trying to get done in the morning, it's already time to go pick them up, and then they're still home. So
right.
if you're an administrator of a school and you're watching this, half days are lazy.
Yeah,
Okay, they're lazy.
yep.
Um, all right, but we're gonna do a funny one here. I haven't done a funny one in a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, Jay. Well, it's been a while
Yeah.
since we've done some podcasts, so we're getting back on the bandwagon. But this one I think is going to be fun. We'll have some good little questions to ask each other, but we're going to focus this podcast on bird keeper confessions.
The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains.
I was about to sing, which now I know I've had too many beers. But there's an old I think it's an R. Kelly song, like "This Is My Confession."
Oh
You know?
yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Not that we support that incarcerated gentleman. He's a bad guy, but I grew up in the '90s in Atlanta. There's some R&B and some hip hop. So,
Yep, 100%.
mhm. All
Okay,
right, yeah.
I'll start us off here with the first question. I got a few things written out here, so I don't forget it because it is late for me too.
Right.
Okay, first question: have you spent more money on your birds than you would ever admit to your wife?
Man, she watches these. Um,
Mine doesn't really, so I don't think I got too much to worry about on there.
you're just serving me up on a silver platter. Um, So I would say yes. Obviously, I think any true bird can say that, but not in the way that you think. Like I catch myself, um, as an example, like I try to keep the bird finances separate and keep track of that, but like I did a Walmart. order yesterday, like a Walmart delivery grocery order. Um, and there's some bird stuff on there. Like I ordered fresh food to make Einstein's daily fresh food, and
Yeah.
I didn't count that. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's like that's like $12 a month. I'm not counting stuff like that. So I don't think there's any. Well, I did under budget the bird cage, but also not intentional. There's no intentional like misleading. Like I'm not telling her like these birds were $20 and really they were $2,000. But there's a lot of like, I should have counted that and I didn't.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep, I totally agree. I'll just add to that. I love my wife. She's very supportive.
Mhm.
But I have these last 3 years or so, the birds have been, I've treated it more as like a business, right? So
Mhm.
I manage finances. We've gotten to a point where they pay for themselves. So I would say more lately, I'm selling and buying birds all the time, but it's strictly within the bird budget that is my money, and I do what I want, and good example, Jay, I just got some plumhead parakeets, a pair that this week, and didn't even ask my wife about it because they just went straight out into the bird shed, and she came out, she's like, "Oh, what are these new green birds?" It's like, "Yeah, those are plumheads." She's like, "How much were those?" I'm like, "Oh, about $1,000." She's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is strictly with the bird money. If I have to tap into the money that we share with each other, then I usually feel like I'm pretty straightforward. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably been a few times I bought a society finch and I didn't say anything. But
Right. Well, and yeah, and if I do a lot of like what I call wheeling and dealing. Like as an example, somebody
yeah,
says like, "Hey, I'll sell you these plumhead for $1,000," and I say, "Well, hold on. I got a pair of starfinches. Maybe we do like, I give you these starfinches and you only give me $700, or I give
yeah,
you the stars and $700, and then like." So then, if I'm reporting that to my wife, I'm like, "Yeah, it was $700 and some birds," and I'll tell her that. But and my wife's literally an accountant, right? So
yeah,
I really can't get much by her anyway, and I'm not trying to, but she's just at this point, I think she just shakes her head, right?
yeah.
She's just like, don't bankrupt the family, which is fair.
Yep, totally fair. The addiction is real. With my brother and I, Bob, he also keeps birds. We've talked about him for a few times, but that's our saying. It's like I'll have a phone call and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna get rid of all my zebra finches," and then like the next day, I'm like, "Well, actually, I really like this one pair. I'm gonna keep it." And then I saw this other pair online, and I actually bought it. And so the addiction is real when it comes to the birds.
Yeah, like I remember when you came to help me build the aviary and we were talking, and my wife, I think in my wife's head, this big new aviary was like the be all and end all, and we were not done building it. And you were like, "So are you going to expand it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think, And my wife just sitting there like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "No, not right away.
Yeah.
5 years from now." And now that's like, "Hey, next year, I think I'm gonna,
Yep. Uh-huh.
like, so it is what can you do, right? We're trapped in our own genius.
I love it.
So, all right, what's the next one?
Okay, let's see here. How far have you driven for a bird?
Man, I have worse than that. How far have you flown for a bird?
Well, I mean, now that they ship birds pretty
Yeah,
frequently, I mean that's one
I mean, I've
question.
got birds
But
from Europe. But I mean, I guess I didn't fly to Europe to get them. But like, so I have a
how far
family
have you
member.
actually driven a vehicle specifically for a bird? And maybe this one might be part of that equation, but
8 hours
yeah,
round trip, I think, maybe more, but about eight.
nice.
Well, actually, you know what's funny? That's not true. My longest is like 10 and a half hours.
How far did you go for candy?
That's what I'm saying. So,
It
so
wasn't even for your own bird. Like, guys, see how good
from,
of a dude Jay is.
yeah, well, some of that was like time at Candy's house, but I made a several hundred mile, let's see, from here to Gordo, which is northwest of Tuscaloosa, is about five. And then so about 9 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, nine and some change plus like stop. So it was about like a 12-hour trip, I guess, is probably what
yeah,
it ended up being.
nice. That's
And that was for your bird. That wasn't even for my bird. What am I doing?
such a good dude. Ah,
Mhm.
hi, Candy.
Yeah.
Um, so similar bucket, and mine maybe was more. I had other intentions behind it that I wasn't 100% forthright with my spouse. Maybe it was they've got several bird fairs, pretty big bird fairs in California. Utah, we don't have the amount of demand for bird keepers to have a good fair. Like we've held some a few times, and you get like one or two breeders that have decent stock, and that's it. So I might have, there was the Pomona Bird Fair, and I really wanted to go to it. And I actually had been talking to a breeder who had some birds that I wanted that was going to sell at that fair. So it's in Pomona, California. I mean, from my house to there, you're about 9.5 hour drive one way. Um, so I told my wife, I'm like, hey, we should just take a vacation to California. And so we took a vacation to
Diabolical.
California, and I said, oh, by the way, funny that this weekend is a bird fair. And I went to the bird fair, and I bought that bird and a few others, probably dropped more money than I should have, and probably admitted to my wife. And so yeah, so we so we did that, but I don't I tell my
Did she catch
after.
on? Was she like,
Yeah,
wait a
oh yeah,
minute?
totally. Yeah, I mean, on the way home, she's like, "All right, wait a minute. This bird fair happened to just be on this weekend." And I'm like, "Well, you got beach time, right? The kids got to go to Disneyland too, right? So, I mean, we both got a win-win out of this." And
I'm
you
not a
know, so
bad guy.
so yeah.
So
Okay.
that's like 20 hours though, you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, 9.5 hour drive one way. Yeah, so you're
Plus the
18 to
cost of
18 to 20 hours, plus throw a freaking few grand in there for Disneyland because that place is not cheap.
right,
Um,
right. They're
so
real good at getting your
it
money.
it
Yeah.
turned out to be a really expensive trip to go get some birds. But okay, let's see here. Um, is your house, or have you rearranged your house specifically for birds?
Well, I moved for birds. So I threw a house in the trash and got a new house for birds.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but we had a really, really, we had a perfectly good house. And my wife, actually, this is really my wife's fault, frankly. And I didn't want to move to this house where I'm sitting in now. And my wife was like, "You can do whatever you want with the birdcage if we move." I really, she really wanted the house. She's like, "You can do whatever you want with the birdcage," and I was like, "We putting in an offer today,
Yeah,
or
sold. I'm in.
right? Yeah. What
Yeah,
about you?
same. There was, so in my old home that we had, so in Utah, because we're in the desert, we don't have high water tables for the most part in our areas. Most of our homes have basements, so they half of your home is down underneath the ground, and we call it the
Oh,
basements, and
I
then you
know
have an upper level. Yeah.
the window cages you used to
Yeah,
have.
yep. So you've got window wells, which it's a big casing that goes around so the dirt doesn't fall in and cover up or break your window. And they're basically a waste of space. I mean, it really, the purpose of them is just so light can come in on your windows, or if you needed to escape your home from
All
the
right,
basement, you
fire
can.
escape. Yeah.
So the home that we lived in, I mean, it was like a 6 foot deep well and probably about 8 feet wide. I mean, they're pretty big, and about maybe 3, 4 feet uh, in width. But so I converted all those into bird cages, and I put birds in there, and it was awesome. You could sit down in the basement, have sports up on the TV, and then to your right you've got this awesome window full of birds. You can open it up. You've got window screens in there, and you can just hear the birds chat and stuff. So that was that was really fun. So that was one thing that I intentionally rearranged in my home for the birds. My wife gave me a hard time, but we ended up getting way more compliments with the birds in there than I think she ever expected. And so I think after a while, she's like, okay, it was a cool idea. Like, you did a good job. It looks fine. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's honestly like you said, right? It's otherwise it's just unused space.
Yeah.
If there really was an emergency, God forbid you're on fire, like you could. bust out of there and the birds would get loose,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't die. Like,
right.
what else are you using that for? What I do have a
Exactly.
question about that. I've never asked you about that. What about the winter with snow? How'd you handle that?
So I would we would cover the top with like a plastic that you can put around your aviaries, and then I
Mhm.
just had a portable space heater that I just put in there, and I just ran the extension cord through the wire or through the screen of the window and plugged it in. So they just had a and actually in the wintertime, naturally the heat from your home seeps into that well. So naturally, it's warmer in the wintertime and cooler in the summertime, just due to it being underground and right up next to your home. So that helped as well. So yeah, the birds actually they were
Yeah,
nice and toasty in the wintertime.
it's actually a great spot.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So
Okay.
okay, last question I got here for you. Um, what do you in your phone? Do you have more pictures of your kids or your birds?
All right.
He hesitated.
Here's what I'm gonna say. No, no, no. I do. I can answer this, but I am gonna like be honest. So there's three things at play here. First of all, my kids occasionally grab my phone, which has like a lock on it. You have to put in a code, but you can get to the camera without the lock.
Yep.
My kids know that, and my kids love to take pictures with my phone. So there's like every once in a while, I'll open up my phone and there'll be like 1,000 pictures of like my kid's left knee,
Yep.
because they're just sitting there clicking the thing. So those would help me. Um, and I tend to delete about 80% of the bird content that I film or save it on my hard drive, like if it's an episode like this.
Yeah.
Um, but the rest, like once I've posted it, I figure like it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. Like I don't need to keep it on my phone also,
Yeah.
or I'd fill up my hard drive like immediately because I take like 2 or 3 a day
Yeah.
sometimes. Um, and I tend to save the pictures of my kids. So I take more pictures of the birds, but I keep more pictures of my kids. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Nope. Totally. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I probably am in the same boat. My wife does give me a hard time because usually if I have my phone out to take pictures, it is of birds or some other animal. And then, when she's like, "Hey, jump in, let's take a family picture," it takes a little bit more effort to get me in those pictures. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'll smile. One picture is all you get," type deal. But
Right.
I need to be better at erasing those. I don't, so I probably legit have more pictures of birds on my phone than I do of my kids.
I definitely like my work gets me a phone, and I definitely like paid a little extra on top of that to have a larger hard drive so that I could
Yeah,
do better bird stuff for sure.
yeah, yeah.
I definitely did that.
I love it. And if you guys make it in the video, I'd love to hear some of your guys's, bird keeper secrets that, or, just things that naturally come when you keep birds. It doesn't have to be a secret or anything like that, but confessions or things like that, maybe something out of the ordinary that you've done in the sake of your birds. We'd love to hear that in the comments. It'd be
Yeah.
pretty fun to share.
And we should do more of these. This is a great one. We can I've thought of like 10 while we're doing this. You have the list for tonight, but I'll have the list for next time and I'll fry you because I feel like I got caught.
Yeah, you kind of threw in the fire there a little bit.
Yeah. But no, that's really funny. That's a good one. Well, yeah, like Chris said, jump in the comments. Let's hear your confessions, or if you think of a funny one for the next round of this, which we'll do, at some point,
Bird
hopefully
Brains
this year,
Podcast with Chris and Jay.
throw that in
Bird Brains
there, and
Podcast with Chris and Jay.
we'll go from
Bird
there.
Brains
But
Podcast with Chris and
pretty
Jay.
fun.
Bird
Yeah.
Brains, Bird
Thank you
Brains.
guys. Reach out to us on
Bird
All right.
Instagram and
Brains
YouTube,
Podcast with
Bird Nerd
Chris
and the
and Jay.
Javiary.
Bird Brains
We'd love to
Podcast
hear
with
from
Chris
you,
and Jay.
and we'll see you
Bird
guys
Brains
next time.
Podcast with Chris and
Absolutely.
Jay.
Catch you on the next
Bird
one.
Brains.